There's a bank holiday. Uh, sound is not there. Sound is there. Whenever it is a bank holiday or you want to take a holiday, tell us.
Yeah, sure.
Because I was suspecting today. That day also something was there, no? I think 15th August or something. We sat.
Hmm. See, on the spiritual path, very rarely there is a holiday. Even on Sunday is also just like the rest of the days.
There is no
Oh
harm in taking on Sundays also.
no, but we are not used to that, no. Means ever since school, college, we have a Sunday holiday, so we should have a break because that is necessary.
So break you can have for the remaining 23 hours.
Okay, so we shall begin today's session. This is the story of Narasimha Avatar. We are looking into, let's pray first. Jai Gajanan. Om Ganeshaya Namastubhyam. Herambai Ekadhantini. Swanandavasine Tubhyam. Brahmanaspataye Namaha. So we are on the 37th chapter of the second Khand of Purana Upanishad, Srimad Mudgal Puran. In this chapter, we see the story of Narasimha, the majesty of Narasimha avatar, which Mahavishnu took for killing Hiranyakashyapu. We have been seeing the various lineage of, of the various rishis. We saw right from Atri, Anasuya, all the rishis one by one. We have been seeing the lineage or who were the prominent descendants in their family or in that rishi gotra. So here today we are seeing the lineage in Rishi Kashyapa. Kashyapa had three wives actually, Diti, Aditi, and Danu. Here, Diti, we are speaking about Diti. Aditi gave birth to gods like Indra, Varuna, Vayu, Agni. All gods were given birth to by Kashyapa and Aditi. Diti was childless for some time. So she got angry. What is this? And she was always jealous of Aditi. And she was short tempered. She was jealous. So all these negative qualities were there in her. Now, Diti, she was frustrated that she was not having any children. So one day she approached Kashyapa, and that too during evening. Evening, that is during dusk time, she approached, she says to Kashyapa, listen, all children have been born to Aditi, and I have no children. Now, I want a children. I want you to give me a child right now. Okay. So Kashyapa tries to make her understand. See, this is evening time. At this time, and Diti was a devotee of Shiva. Shiva and other his ganas and all, they roam around the smashan graha at this time. The smashan, the cemeteries at this time, and they have ashes on them of the dead bodies of those cremated beings. So this is not a good time for engaging in sexual act. He tried to make her understand, but she was adamant. No, I want just now. So finally, Kashyapa, he had no other alternative but to agree. So that is how she gave birth to twins, Hiranyakashyapu and Hiranyaksha, both big Rakshasas. Most, if you know, if you have read Ramayana, even Bhagavatam, um, Jaya and Vijaya were the doorkeepers of Jaya and Vijay, you can say. They were doorkeepers of Vaikunth, of Mahavishnu. These doorkeepers, one day, when Sanat Kumaras, the Sanandana, Sanatana, these four Sanat Kumaras, they came there to Vaikunth. That time Mahavishnu was resting. He was just taking rest. So they did not allow the Sanat Kumaras to enter. The Sanat Kumaras were eternal yogis, young children, forever young, mind-born sons of Brahma. So when they did not allow it, when Jaya and Vijay did not allow them to go inside, they cursed this Jaya and Vijay. They cursed that, see, we have come to have the darshan of Mahavishnu. We had some important questions to ask him, and you are preventing us from that. So you will be born as Rakshasas on earth forever. Means you will be Rakshasas forever. They condemned those two people, those are Jaya and Vijay. Mahavishnu was listening. Mahavishnu heard some sound outside. So he got up and came. What is going on? So then he found his Sanat Kumara Sanan, and then he found that it had already become too late. They had already cursed Jay and Vijay. So then Mahavishnu said, okay, see, they are my doorkeepers. They made a mistake. So, see, curses by these people cannot be taken back. It cannot be undone. It will work. They will have to go through it. So then Mahavishnu said, give them some choice, make it lenient, be lenient in your, dilute that curse. So then okay, Mahavishnu is asking. So they diluted. They said, okay, we give you a choice that whether you want to be permanently as Rakshasas in Patala, or you will take 3 births and you will confront Mahavishnu himself. God himself, and you will get killed by Mahavishnu. When he takes incarnations, 3 incarnations when he takes, you will be killed at his hands. Are you ready to accept that? Or you are forever going to Patal? So the Jay Vijay accepted. They accepted, okay, the second option is good enough. We are prepared to die at the hands of Mahavishnu at the incarnation of God, of Ishvara, and they accepted it. So the first birth of 3 births, these Rakshasas would undergo 3 births. So the first birth was as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. As Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they were born and they died at the hands of Rama. Both of them died at the hands of Rama, and then they were born again as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashyapu and Hiranya. Um, or maybe this was the first incarnation. No, this was the second incarnation. No, maybe this was the first incarnation. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. These were the second out, the second birth, you can say. I'm getting confused whether that was later, Ravana and Kumbhakarna was later, or this was the first one, because this was at the time when in creation, the earth was not earth. They had gone directly to Patal, and the earth was sunk in waters. That is, there was an ocean of water, and the earth was sunk in that. And these people, these two Rakshasas, were creating havoc everywhere, beating the water, beating the ocean, and that was the kind of destruction they caused. This Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyaksha was the elder brother. So to kill Hiranyaksha, Mahavishnu took the form of a boar. He took the form to the Brahma. Brahma said, "See, this earth is drowned in waters, and these two from the Patal Loka are creating havoc, and I'm not able to do any creation on earth. the earth sunk in the waters. So Mahavishnu took the form of a boar, and with a horn on the boar horn, he lifted the earth up and he killed this Hiranyaksha. So after killing Hiranyaksha, the earth was restored. Earth was restored, and then Brahmadeva started creation and all that. But Hiranyakashyapu, the other brother, second brother, when who was born. Now, in this particular play, Hiranyakashyapu, the second one, in Vishnu Puran, it is stated slightly differently. In this Puran, it is stated as they were twins. But in Vishnu Puran, it is stated that Hiranyakashipu was born separately. Kashyapa Rishi was conducting a yajna, and he had prepared golden thrones for all the rishis. And Diti, she sat on one of this golden throne, and during the course of yajna, she gave the birth to Hiranyakashipu. So that is why he was called Hiranyakashipu. Now, Hiranyakashipu was angry that Mahavishnu had killed Hiranyaksha. So he said, I will become powerful and defeat all the Devas. So he became very strong. He gathered an army, and he created havoc on the earth. Means he conquered the entire earth. Then he went to Swargaloka. The Devas and Daityas fought each other, fought valiantly. And during the course of the um, battle between the Devas and Daityas, Indra injured, he with the Vajra, he injured that Hiranyakashipu. And when Hiranyakashipu was fallen injured on the battlefield, he took away his wife. Hiranyaksha took away his wife. What was her name? Kayadu. Kayadu was her name. Hiranyakashipu's wife. He took away Hiranyakashipu's wife, Kayadu. Not so well known. That name is not well known, so it's not stuck in my head. But he took her away, and uh, so on the way to Swargaloka, Narada saw. Now she was pregnant at that time. Narada saw her, saw this Indra carrying away Kayadu, and fought with Indra, and somehow rescued Kayadu from Indra and took her to his own ashram, in Narada's ashram. And it was there that she delivered the child, and that child was Prahlada. And Prahlada, from childhood, from birth itself, he took care of the child. And of course, Kayadu, after delivering the child, she went back to earth, to Kashipu's ashram. She did not disclose for quite some time that where she was, but she said, I have delivered this child Prahlada. And then finally he told Narada came and gave Prahlada to Hiranyakashipu when he was of certain age. Means when he had grown up big enough. But when he was a child, when he was very small itself, he initiated, Narada initiated um, Prahlada into the Vishnu's Mahamantra, Om Namo Narayanaya. He initiated Prahlada into this mantra, and so since beginning, he has been chanting this mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. Now, in some places, there is also Vasudevaya Namaha, some other mantra is also attributed to Prahlada in some other Puranas. But here we must remember that this is in the beginning. So Chaturyugas, Kalpas are repeated over and over again. So there is likelihood of the stories being modified by the narrator of the story, the rishi who has narrated as his because it was passed on from shruti and smriti, through remembrance and through conveying, or through verbally. So it was not written down. So there is a possibility that in one yuga or in one kalpa, Prahlada was born when Narada gave the mantra Namo Narayanaya, and in another kalpa when Prahlada was given the other mantra Om Namo Vasudev. There is another mantra which is attributed to Prahlada on Mahavishnu only. So where I was this Prahlada, he was devoted to Mahavishnu. Now after some time, this Kayadu was restored to Hiranyakashyapu. And Hiranyakashyapu, he inquired about Prahlada. She told him that Prahlada is in this place. And Narada came and she told the whole incident, and he gave back to, Narada had become attached to Prahlada by that time, because as a small child, he was with him. So when he came to maybe 4 or 5 years old, he returned returned the child to Hiranyakashipu, and frequently used to come and meet him and go. But Hiranyakashipu, what he did was he sent Prahlada to his own guru, means the Rakshasa's guru. So when Hiranyakashipu had become very strong, powerful, he had not only he had conquered the entire earth. So he told everybody that he changed the name to, he changed all mantras. Wherever Narayana was written, he made it Hiranyaya. Hiranyaya Namaha. So he asked this Prahlada that he has a teacher of Prahlada, that you teach this boy. He's telling Narayana, no, you should teach him Hiranyaya Namaha. So he said, okay. He took the child to the ashram, and the Prahlada learnt all other things in the ashram along the Vedas and everything. Now these Rakshasas also were well learned people. They learnt all the Vedas. That is why they knew all the secrets also. So but Prahlada, then once a mantra gets stuck in you, means you can't chant anything else. So he was chanting Narayana Namaha. This guru was telling something else. He didn't bother. So then after some, when the parent teachers the meeting is there. So the guru, Hiranyakashipu, asked the guru to bring Prahlada before him. Let me see what you have taught him. So in this parent, students and teachers meeting, he asked Prahlada, what have you learned? So Prahlada said, Om Namo Narayanaya, Narayanaya Namaha. Hiranyakashipu got angry on that guru. He said, is this what you taught? I told you what to teach him. Hiranyaya Namaha. He said, I don't know. I have been teaching him Hiranyaya Namaha, but I don't know from where he has learnt this. Now, nobody has told Hiranyakashipu that this Narayana was initiated by Narada himself. Narada. But that was unknown. So, but this Prahlada was chanting Narayana. So he had become powerful. He had become a devotee of Vishnu, and he became so strong in his bhakti and devotion for Vishnu that nothing harmed him. Again, Hiranyakashipu said, again, take him back and teach him properly. Again, the second time he was sent to the Guru's ashram. Nothing happened. Again, he came back for test. Again, he said Narayana. So now Hiranyakashipu was frustrated. He started sending all kinds of punishments. He threw him from the hilltop. He tried to send his army of weapons. None worked. Or in the weapons, it contained the power of Mahavishnu, and it did not harm Prahlada. All the weapons were ineffective. He sent Sarpas, the snakes, the poisonous snakes also. But the poisonous snakes, when they came to bite Prahlada, the fangs would break off, and they were rendered useless. So all kinds of tactics. There is a big list of kind of attacks this Hiranyakashipu waged against Prahlada, but we are not looking at Prahlada's story. We are looking at how Hiranyakashipu was killed. So Prahlada finally he was still his devotion was untouched, and he came victorious in all these tests. One day Prahlada was tied up and brought in front of Hiranyakashipu. When he was thrown from the hilltop, Devi, the goddess Earth, she became a lotus and received him from the hilltop. So even there he was protected. So he was asked to bring in front of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu asked him, "You're saying Narayana, Narayana. Where is your Narayana? Is he there in this pillar?" Of course, he is in the pillar. And remember, people who are devotees, bhaktas, and in the name of God, if they say something, that will be true, and that deity will make it true. This can be seen in other instances, even during Krishna avatar, when that's a later story. But here, to prove the truth in the words of Prahlada, Mahavishnu manifested from that pillar. Now, Hiranyakashipu had meditated to Brahma and had taken one boon from Brahma, that he shall not be killed in the during the day or night, not be killed by with any weapon, not be killed. So a big list of things that nobody can kill. He thought that now nobody can kill me. In every possible way, he had protected. He had all the clauses, all the clauses he had ticked, 16, 17 of them, and he had got the boon. Tatastu. As long Brahma would give everything, as long as you say that I will live forever. Means I will not die. That I should not have any death. Of course, they ask for that. They ask that nobody should kill me. Brahma will say, no, I can't give you that, because anything that is born has to die. Ask for something else. So he asked all these 10, 15 things. And finally, Narasimha avatar came as a half man, half lion. He came out of the pillar. He was not born. He was not. He was not a human being. He was not an animal. He was not a. It was not during the day. It was dusk time when he killed. It was not inside the house, not outside the house. He was sitting on the. That is why we don't cross. We don't sit on the the entrance. We put a kind of a plank there, or a raised platform, so that we cross it. We don't step on it. That's also a ritual that we practice in our culture. So he sat there, and there were no weapons. With his nails, he tore open the stomach of and he didn't keep he didn't, it was not on the floor nor in the sky. He put him on his lap, and he tore open the stomach with his nails. So this, all his conditions were satisfied. All the conditions which Hiranyakashipu had asked Brahmadeva that he cannot die was fulfilled, and finally this Narasimha avatar, he killed Hiranyakashipu, and in that anger, the anger with which that Narasimha avatar came, means that Mahavishnu's avatar of Narasimha was so ferocious. He was means he had to fulfill so much conditions, that he had to bring that much anger, that much of violence, ferociousness in his body to kill this Rakshasa. So actually, Mahavishnu, after that avatar, he was not, that anger was not coming down. In fact, even avatars, it is so risky that when they assume an avatar, Mahakali, Devi Parvati also, when she assumed the form as a Mahakali, it was very difficult to pacify her after assuming that Virata form of Mahakali. So never invoke Mahakali, because Shiva has a tough time pacifying or restoring her into normalcy. So also Mahavishnu, when he assumed this Narasimha avatar, it was very difficult to pacify. For centuries, he could not be pacified. Finally, he went and sat on one mountain. That mountain I visited last year, not last year, this year. It is in near Katpadi. From Katpadi, when you about 140 kilometers from Katpadi, there is a mountain, Sholingipuram. It is called Sholingar. There are two mountains there. On one, the big mountain and small mountain. On the big mountain has 1,008 steps, and the smaller mountain has 300 and odd steps. Now, of course, there is that winch is there. That is that ropeway is there. When we were kids, we used to climb those stairs and go up. Many times, almost every vacation, summer vacation, that was our exercise. We used to go both the mountains, but now it was not possible. Good, there's a ropeway. On top of that mountain, this Narasimha avatar went and sat. And it was there that he sat and meditated. And it was there that he sat and meditated and he was pacified. And just now, it's just striking when I'm telling these words, it is just it's just coming to my mind. I had not thought of this before. When I went to that this that Narasimha Swami temple on top of the Sholingar mountain, this I went, I think in I'll let you know when the date is. Just this year only I went. When I went there, they took me directly because I had a lot of puja materials to offer the Swami. Some monkeys pulled it away from me, the bag. And but then somebody came to my rescue, one of the securities, and then they put it all in the bag. He said, "Come along with me," and he took me directly in front of Narasimha Swami inside the sanctum sanctorum, and I was there right in front of that statue. That was a place where the Narasimha avatar sat, and he became a statue. Means there himself he got established. And I don't know whether I should disclose it or not. The pujari there, the water there, it is made up of kalpuram. That is an Iyengar. It is a Vaishnavite temple. So they have this. They will put the kiridam, the blessing with this, and their tirtha is made up of kalpuram, which is and tulsi, which is sanctified, and the pujari there splashed that tirtha on my face, and he said, "Ask for what you wish." And I don't know how I asked. I asked that, "Let peace be restored in Northeast India." And that pujari said, "Tatastu." And yesterday, our PM visited Manipur. And we are reading this story in a sequence. It is not that I picked up this chapter from the middle. And I didn't even recollect this until I'm just now when I'm speaking and I'm recollecting that I visited that mountain. Now I'm recollecting what I had asked. Because of the violence and in Manipur, and the so much of women were ill treated, and so much of sorrow, so much of it was so distressing that the thing that I asked in Sholingar, now it is taking shape. And I was just reading the newspaper and this morning, and there was a report on how they are preparing for PM's visit on 13th Means yesterday they announced that PM is visiting, and I think he's visiting on 13th or something in Manipur. So this is how divine works. We don't know what happens where somebody asks somebody and something else means it materializes in this way. So that is Narasimha avatar's blessings, grace, or he heard what I said, what I asked, and it is materializing, hopefully. So let's stop here. Putting all the thoughts to one side, bring your attention to yourself. To your breathing. Feet firmly planted on the floor. Hands on your lap, palms facing upwards. Bring your attention to your breathing. Put all your attention on your Sahasrara. Now that I think of it, that Narasimha Swami is right. That vision is just coming flashing back in my mind. It's ages old. Ages. Nobody knows when, nobody can trace out the time. Later on, Agastya Muni discovered that Mahavishnu had, in his Narasimha avatar, had gone there. And that is how, after Agastya Muni spent many years in meditation on that hill, and it was after that that it came to be known to human beings. And as it happens to be, the village of my birth, the temple on one side, every village has a temple, and the village temple's deity is Lakshmi Narasimha Swami. Since Krishna was a later avatar of Vishnu, it is generally called Palakkad Krishnangovil. It's generally addressed as Krishna temple, but the deity is actually Lakshmi Narasimha Swami. The temples and the deities in the temples, when they have a role to perform in contemporary times, in the modern times, in the present times of confusion, chaos, those deities will be preserved by the deities themselves. We need not restore anything. We need not dig up some temples. The deities that have a role to play in future, in the evolution or in future circumstances of this country, they will preserve themselves. Those temples will never be destroyed. Just as Kedarnath, Badrinath, when floods washed away everything around it, the temples have stood firm. If the temples are gone, it means the deity has left the place. We need not make effort to restore. The deities have powers to manifest themselves. Another example that I could give you was on my visit to Bhutan. It was an organized tour. We were taken to monasteries, the women monasteries, where women Buddhists were students and elders were engaging themselves in austerities, in prayers, in tapas. I was attracted to one thing which all of them had in common, and that was a metal vajra, which they all had with them. Even on their studying desk, they kept it. The moment I saw, I was wanting to buy a vajra from one of the artifact shops. I didn't find anything close by. Then we went to a museum. Not a museum to be exact, it is a temple where many deities are there. The statues of deities are present. And there was a spiraling, it was a spiraling building, means it had several floors. On the topmost floor was some tantric statues of Buddha with his consorts. After visiting, when we came down, on the floor below were a number of statues of various goddesses, Shaktis. Now, Bhutan people believe they don't have an army. Bhutan has no army. They believe that they are protected by the deities of the mountains, that the gods have promised that they will protect them from all enemies. And in that belief, they live. And so they have representations of various gods, which they have made into statues, marble statues, and have placed it in this temple, which we visited. At one point of time, when we came down from the tantric floor, the topmost floor, to the next floor, there were all these deities with all their names, the Shaktis with the names. And while moving from the left side, they were all kept in showcases along the wall. They were made small windows or places where the statues were kept. There were names written on that, and they were in different poses with different weapons. And I was moving along the left. A few statues later, my legs slipped. There was a pain in my calf muscle, and I slipped. Everybody had gone away, and I was closely observing each of the deity, reading the names, and so I was left behind. There was no one around. I didn't know what to do in that excruciating pain. I held on to that marble wall, the platform, and lifted myself up and looked at the deity in front of me on that particular place. And it was written Vajra Devi. It was as though that Vajra Devi was actually physical. I asked her, why did you injure me? Why did I get this pain sudden, all of a sudden? How else can I draw your attention? She said. And I found in her hands that Vajra. No other deity had that weapon. No other statue had that weapon. Then our guide, finding me missing, he came in search of me and helped me on a seat. There were benches there. For some time I sat, recovered myself from that sort of, I had become a little unconscious, shift in consciousness. After recovering myself, I walked back to the group. Later that evening, the hotel where we were halting, we stayed there. I found this Vajra in a jewelry box. I purchased it. So deities have a way of existing and communicating to the persons of their choice. Mm-hmm. So time and time again, when we feel that gods don't exist, or how can we find them? What should we do? We feel desperate sometimes in our challenges, in our difficulties that we face in day-to-day life. We go to temples, we worship, we do all kinds of things. When we are ready, the deity will find you. And you will be led, circumstances will lead you there. Have the faith and belief. Have faith and belief that there is a superior power to us that guides us. We need to be present. We need to be present and alert every moment to be receptive of their messages, of what they wish to convey. It is not merely the Wi-Fi that we get messages through. There is a divine communication system too. Take a nice deep breath. Become aware of the place where you're seated. Wriggle your fingers and toes. Rub your hands together. Cup your palms and place it on the eyes. Slowly rub your face. And when you're ready, open the eyes.